Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Howser. Get ready for an adventure. Now let's set the stage. It's a little after 8 o'clock in the morning. The overcast is just now beginning to break off. It's going to be an absolutely beautiful day, and we've come to Orange County. Now I think just about everybody would agree that Southern California, especially Orange County, is growing by leaps and bounds. But we're going to be spending a day in a town that, even though it's vibrant, even though it's growing, has somehow or another managed to maintain its charm. I've been hearing about this place forever, and we're excited because we're going to be spending the whole day here. We've come to the city of Orange on a road trip. Okay, we are starting our adventure. We might as well start it right here in the middle of town. This is actually called Old Town, isn't it, Phil?
This is old downtown Orange, the original part of town.
Okay, he would know because he's the local historian. Your name is?
Phil Brigandy.
And you have agreed to kind of spend some time with us today to bring us up to speed. When we talked on the phone, I said, let's meet on the Circle. And you got all upset about that.
Well, this is the plaza. The plaza is the whole square around us here. The park in the center, which isn't even a circle, doesn't come till years later.
Yeah, but people, don't locals call this the Circle?
No, locals call it the plaza. It's the folks from out of town, folks from other places, the newcomers, who call it the Circle.
Okay, I'm from out of town.
Yes.
So I called it the Circle.
You get a pass for this first time.
All right. The locals call it the plaza. There's a history behind this plaza. When was this all laid out?
This is where Orange started in 1871 when the town was founded. The survey started right here in the center, and they worked out from here and laid out downtown and founded the community.
Now, lots of towns in those days had circles or plazas in the middle of them like this one does.
Yep.
Most of them have disappeared. Why has this one managed to remain?
Well, because downtown Orange has managed to remain. We're one of the few downtowns here in Orange County that hasn't been redeveloped and changed and rebuilt. Most of what you'll see around here was all in place by 1930. Some of it goes back to the 1880s.
Yeah, because when you look around here, let's just swing around and take a 360. Really, what we're looking at, we're right in the middle of this nice plaza that goes all the way around. It makes a 360 circle, and the whole business district is kind of centered around this plaza.
Not just the business district. When Orange was young, everything was here. The churches were all right here, the schools, City Hall is still right here, the library. This was the center, geographically, commercially, civically, everything of Orange. And even today, it's no longer the center, but it's still our downtown, and it's still the heart of Orange.
And the soul of Orange.
Heart and the soul of Orange.
Because we're going to be here the whole day. When people like me visit this place, you could pretty well come here and park and have your whole City of Orange experience just within a walking distance of where you park, if you park right here in the old town.
Absolutely. It is a pedestrian scale in those days. This was designed before automobiles.
Yeah. Well, we've got the car, but we've parked it, and we're going to start off having breakfast. Don't give away where we're going, but you're going to take us to the ultimate local hangout when you come to Orange, right?
The place to see and be seen.
All right, and eat some good food,
Absolutely.
too. All right, now before we leave, there's a story about this fountain, too, isn't there?
Well, this is the new fountain. This is only from 1937. The old fountain has just been restored. We'll show you that later today. But the plaza has had a fountain in the center since 1887 to mark the center of town.
Wow, so this is literally keeping history alive. It's been here since the earliest days, and it's still here today.
Right. Once the park was laid out in 1886, the women in town said, we need a fountain. And so they raised the money and bought a fountain. Was replaced by this one in 1937. But this is just part of what is the center of downtown Orange, this beauty spot they wanted right in the middle of town.
All right, you've given us the history lesson. Now it's time to go eat. Okay, we're finally here for breakfast. We have come to the classic place here in the city of Orange. Your name, sir, is?
Scott Parker.
Okay, tell us about this drugstore, because this is the place that everybody says you have to come when you come to the city of Orange.
Well, we've been here since 1899, so you get famous after you've been a place that long. We've been here 108 years. It's been in this building exactly. It's moved from this side here to that side or whatever. The last major remodeling was in 1948. So that's why the appearance seems to be 50s or 60s.
Well, that's been very good to you over the years, hasn't it?
It has been, yes. During the 70s and 80s, it kind of took a nosedive, but then 90s, it got popular again, and people like the 50s and 60s.
And is this a real drugstore? I mean,
Yes.
it's the way drugstores used to be, with the the drugstore part on one side and the counter and the tables on the other.
We have we do prescriptions on the one side. We have gifts and sundries and candy and those items, and then we have the food and the soda fountain. And on this side, we do 200 prescriptions a day. We do delivery service and the whole thing that they've done for years and years.
Well, the difference, though, when people come in to pick up their prescription here, they probably stay for a chocolate malt or something.
Yeah, it helps us over on that side because they have patience, because they're having something to keep them occupied while we're doing their prescription.
How has this place remained when so many drugstores all over California have, fallen away?
During the 70s, we toyed with the idea of removing this part, putting in cosmetics, but because we didn't have enough money to change anything, we just waited it out. History caught up with us.
Yeah, in a good way.
Right.
Okay, I've met up with two ladies, and we're going to do this interview looking in the mirror, ladies, so let's look in there for the interview. What's the deal? Are you locals from the city of Orange?
I'm actually from Santa Ana.
This is kind of strange doing an interview in a mirror, isn't it? Let's look at each other. Where are you from?
Actually, I am from very local, but when I got married, we moved to Santa Ana, and here we are.
Well, what are you doing back here at Watson's having breakfast?
Coming back to the old stomping grounds, I guess. And it's a special spot. This is a very special place, and when we want to get together, this is where we come.
Yeah.
It feels really good and community, and it's homey.
Now, when you say it feels good, what do you mean by that?
It has, an old-time flavor about it, and it's just the food's good, the service is great, and it's always the same people working every time, So.
And it probably hasn't changed that much over the years, has it?
No, not at all.
Job.
Yeah.
New paint job? But everything else is the same.
It's all the same.
We've come over here by the old jukebox. Now, they're looking at it like it's something out of a museum. We know about that thing, don't
Absolutely, and now it costs a quarter. It used to cost a nickel or a dime.
we? Now, you're sitting here right by the jukebox. Are you a regular here at Watson?
I like to come here every now and again. I've been out of town for a month, and I was longing for one of their breakfasts. Watson's omelet is the best one around.
Really?
For breakfast. It's called Watson's omelet, and you can see it's got everything but the kitchen sink in it. And you don't have to get potatoes, you can get fruit.
So you can be healthy.
Absolutely, and you can get rye toast.
Well, I'm drinking a chocolate milkshake, a malt, for breakfast.
Isn't that fabulous?
Yeah.
Now what you need to go with that is one of his patty melts. And then after the malt, also the next time you come in, you got to get a phosphate. Now you may be too young to remember phosphates.
They have phosphates here?
They have phosphates here. And my wife and I used to come here and she'd have a phosphate. I never had one of the silly things, but she likes them.
Next stop on our road trip, we have left Watson's, and boy, that was a great breakfast I had. A great chocolate shake for breakfast. Phil has brought us about a block to this. This is the original fountain that was in the plaza.
That's right. This was bought by the women of Orange, and the community raised the funds in 1887 to buy and install this fountain in the middle of the plaza.
Now, what's it doing over here? This is behind where?
This is the new Orange Public Library and History Center that's just opened up, and as part of designing the complex here, we wanted a new home for the fountain where it could be on display for the community.
Now, this fountain has had several homes, hasn't it?
Well, yes, it was in the plaza for 50 years, and then they put in the fountain that's there in the center now, and then it went down to Hart Park, and it was the wading pool. When I first knew it in the 60s, this was the wading pool for us kids.
So kids would wade in here.
When you weren't big enough to go to the plunge, you'd just go wade in the old fountain. And then it was across the street at City Hall for about 25 years, and now it's been re-restored beautifully and brought over here.
So this is its fourth location.
Yes, our traveling fountain.
And what is the idea with the birds here? Are those egrets? What are those?
It's a natural scene. If you look all the way up, it's like a tree coming up. You can see the bark coming up and like the leaves coming out.
Birds?
And the birds that nest on it. And so it's naturalistic. A rock at the base. You get the whole 1880s natural scene.
Okay, we've walked right across the street from the new library and the old fountain, and we're crossing another one of these circles. You all like circles in Orange, don't you?
Kind of a little homage to the plaza here to have a little...
Absolutely. And we've come over here to talk about the architecture of the homes here in the city of Orange, because this city probably has as many, well, isn't this a historic district?
There's actually the whole downtown neighborhoods and the downtown business section are both listed on the National Register of Historic Places. There's something like 1,400 pre-World War II homes in Orange.
Now, are these craftsmen? What are we looking at right here?
This, I think, is a pretty good example of what I'd call a California bungalow. But we have craftsmen, we have Mediterranean, we have Victorian, we have this range of styles from the 1870s on into the 1930s and 40s.
Well, look across the street.
Yeah,
what is this one? This is a beautiful house.
Yeah, it's got some craftsman elements to it with the extended beams and things like that, and the natural materials. See the fake stone porch, and of course they've done the chimney up that way.
Now, how many homes like this are in this town?
Well, if you say up through World War II, there's about 1,400 homes. Wow. Yeah. And Orange, you see, was a very middle-class community, so instead of having a few big mansions, we have row after row and block after block.
Yeah, because look, this goes all the way down this side, then look, all the way over here, it's just one house after another, all the way through, and again, you just think, boy, it would have been so easy over the years before people really realized what they had, for these to be torn down.
Well, and what they have is not just the houses, what they have is the neighborhoods. That's one of the big things that attracts people to downtown Orange, is not just to come live in an old house, but to come live in a neighborhood with trees and kids and a library and parks and all those things that make a place a community.
Look at this. We have just come right down the street.
Yep.
And everywhere you look are these beautiful old houses.
Yep, this is my hometown.
Everybody's happy here in the city of Orange, including you, because you live in this house right over here.
Yeah,
Tell us about this little house. Look at this.
Well, this house, where I've lived since 1970, was built in 1917, and it was originally the parsonage for this chapel. And one time, about 10 years after we moved in here, got a knock on the front door, and somebody said, "Hi, you don't know me, but I used to go to Sunday school in this house. Can I come in and look around?"
It's that kind of a town, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And right here on cue, I'm not sure where the bells, I don't think the chimes are coming from this church, but this is an old church. What's the story on this?
This is the old Trinity Episcopal Church. It was built in 1909. Philip Froman was the architect who was later architect of the National Cathedral for years and years in Washington.
Wow, what a beautiful, beautiful structure, and right next to it is the
parsonage,
parsonage. So you've got this wonderful juxtaposition here of history being preserved.
Exactly, and the chapel is still used as a chapel and used for meetings and other functions here downtown.
So it's not a functioning church
There's
anymore.
not a single congregation that uses it. Trinity has moved to a new building.
Well, of course, you wouldn't tear it down, not in the city of Orange.
Not in Orange.
I keep calling it the city of Orange,
Well, sure.
Is it the city of Orange or Orange?
Well, we are a city. We incorporated in 1888, but because it's Orange County, some people, they get a little confusion going between Orange County and City of Orange.
So should I say we're in the city of Orange?
Whatever feels comfortable.
I'm glad you're with us today, because walking down these streets, I would have been looking just at the houses themselves instead of down at the street.
Sure, we have our original 1920s Portland cement streets.
So these go back to the 20s.
Right, they started paving streets in Orange in 1912 and started at the plaza and worked their way out like everything else.
Why haven't these been paved over with asphalt?
They don't need to be. They hold up for, as you can see, for 80 years.
So you've got the old houses, the original old streets from the 20s.
The old street trees, the front porches, the picket fences, the pergolas, it's all the fabric, they say, of the historic neighborhood that all works together, not just a house in isolation.
And we are standing right just a block off the campus of Chapman College.
Chapman University now, yes. I have to get used to saying that too.
So this has become a college town.
Yeah, they came here in 1954, moved into the old original Orange Union High School campus, which most of it's still there, and then all their new buildings that they have built.
How many students are we talking about?
Thousands. I don't know the exact number.
So that's kind of added to the flavor of town,
definitely
too.
part of downtown.
Well, we don't have time to go on the campus today, but boy, we're sure taking the time to look at these houses. There's not a clunker in the bunch, Phil.
No, it's just, you can see why people are attracted to it and why it gives people a different image of what Orange is.
We met a homeowner. Nice to meet you,
nice
sir.
To meet you.
Your name is?
Leeson Pomeroy.
Okay, what are you doing here? You got one of these nice old houses and you're fixing it up.
We did an addition on the back, a garage for our much needed storage requirements. And, to match exactly the existing house with the bell cast roof, the corbels, the siding, everything was custom milled and made.
So when people buy a house in the city of Orange, you really get into it.
Yes, we do. We've already redone the inside, and now the outside is what's next. We're going to re-landscape, repaint, everything.
You got a lot of work ahead of you, though. These things look great, but they take a lot of work, don't they?
They do, but we're on a raised foundation, so we can do all the work under the house really easily, and we've upgraded everything, the electrical, plumbing. It's a modern house in a 100-year-old skin.
How does it feel to be a part of all of this?
I love it. We walk down, we have dinner right there by the plaza, and I'm in Old Town Orange. We've been here for almost 5 generations. Actually, it is 5 generations with my kids now. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So people stay here.
We do.
Now this is interesting. As we walked down the street, we ran into this restaurant here, which it says it's called the filling station. Was this really an old filling station?
It was really an old filling station. It was built in 1913.
And how hard was it to make it into a restaurant?
It was pretty hard. It stopped being a station back in 1969, and the funny thing about the building is it was literally a concrete floor back in 1913. So the building slopes about 6 inches from back to front.
Well, that adds a little character to it.
Adds a little character, but a lot of fun in leveling out the pancakes and everything else that you make.
And it has become another one of these places to eat when you come to Orange.
It's become a wonderful place.
Is it a good place to run? Are you having fun?
Always having fun. Yeah, but it's really my wife's place, and
you just work here.
I just work here.
Well, congratulations. Your name is?
John.
Nice to meet you, John.
The same,
and the name of the place literally is the filling station.
The filling station, yes.
And right across the street is this magnificent building over here. What's this all about, Phil?
This is the Old Orange Theater. This is our movie palace from 1929. It's been a church for about the last 30 years now, but even when I was a kid, you'd go to the movies here. This was the big place in downtown.
Well, a lot of these old movie theaters have become churches, which in essence is a good way of preserving them, of saving them.
And they've preserved a lot of the interior and a lot of the look and feel when you go inside.
Okay, now we've seen restaurants, we've seen homes, we've been to Watson's, but also downtown are lots of antique stores. When did Old Town Orange become the antique store capital of the universe?
Or Southern California, anyway. It really in the 1970s took off. As a lot of the other older businesses were moving out, we started getting the antique dealers moving in, and that was really the backbone of downtown Orange for many, many years, was the antique business.
So this place literally is packed with antique stores.
That's quite true.
How does this work crossing the street? There's a policeman right there. Is it okay?
Very good.
I just want to make sure he's sitting right here. How does it work in Orange? There are not any lights here. How do you know when to cross the street?
A lot of stop signs. A lot of stop signs.
Are there many jaywalkers here? Is that a problem?
Not a whole lot, no, not at all.
So things are peaceful in the city of Orange.
This is a very peaceful city to work in and to live in, both.
Well, that must be great for you.
Absolutely.
To work in a peaceful city.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All's right with the world.
All's right with the world.
Your
in the
name,
city of
sir,
Orange.
is?
Jeff Gray.
And I'll be sure and use this because I always want to stay in good with the police.
All right. Nice to meet you.
They are nice policemen here.
Oh yeah, this is a nice town. People like living here. People live here because they want to live here.
Ah, how are you doing? I love you. Thank you. Boy, they're friendly people all over the place. Children all over the place. So it's really kind of, I mean, it doesn't get any better than this, does it?
This is what a town is supposed to be like. This is a place people can feel connected to.
Yeah. Well, it's got a nice, boy, this is got a nice feel to it over here. Then you got a little Mexican grill here. The Clark building.
That's a new one. That's a new construction downtown.
Built in 2000, but made to look old.
Try and blend in with the historic downtown.
And then all up and down here are the antique stores. Are we going to be able to go in?
Yeah.
You're kidding. This is the one we're going in?
This is the one. Timing is everything.
Okay, we're going in A&P Antiques. We buy items.
This is one of the last independent antique stores downtown.
Oh, wow. I'm a sucker for these things. Let's go in.
All right.
A&P Antiques. We buy items and entire estates. They're here to greet us. Hi, ladies. How are you doing? Huell Howser.
Bonnie Ackerman.
Boy, I'm watching myself in here. I don't want to break any of this.
Pleasure to meet you, Lisa Ackerman.
Nice. Also, this is a family deal here.
Yes, mother and daughter.
Now, when did you all come here?
Well, we've been in this location about 26 years.
So you came here during the era in the 70s when Old Town was kind of teetering and didn't really have much direction to it.
Yes.
And what made you decide to come down here and open up an antique store?
Well, we love antiques, and fortunately by that time this had already been established as an antique destination. And so that's what you really want if you have an antique business.
Do antiquers know the city of Orange? They do, don't they?
Yes,
This
they
is
do.
kind of like the...
Yes. This has been a destination for real antiquers for many years.
What do you mean, real antiquers?
Well, people that are really collectors. There are a lot of people that buy antiques just to decorate their home because they can get them cheaper than if they bought them in a department store. Decorative items.
So you get all kinds of people in
Yes,
here.
we do.
It has become a destination, although now your show is going to go out, and there are going to be folks that say, my gosh, I've never been to Orange before. Almost every day we'll have a first-timer come to town, and they'll say, my gosh, I've never seen so many good stores all
But
together.
for the first-timers, the best suggestion would be to come during the week if they can.
If they
And
can.
avoid the crowds.
Right, yes. And parking can be a little tough, but if they're persistent, we
Yeah,
have
but it's
parking.
okay because you can walk, and this is
That's
such a
right.
beautiful
Yes.
area to walk
Yes,
in.
it
Yes,
is.
yes, it is. And I'm really proud of our town, as I suppose every person is. But I've done a lot of antiquing around the United States. But when I come back to Orange, I'm very pleased because when you see how clean it is, and you know that you have merchants that know what their product is too. It's not just something you're buying online and you're hoping for the best. You actually get to touch and feel it, and that's what makes the experience in Orange here so unique.
Now we have come to New Orange because we have left downtown. What is that called? The old downtown center?
Well, is the old downtown Orange or Old Town Orange?
Because there's more to Orange than just the old historic core downtown. This is a big city.
Oh yeah, we're a city of almost 140,000 people, still growing out to the east into the foothills.
And you brought us here. I'm not sure what this is. I'm not sure what you're getting me into, but it looks interesting. The Orange County Badminton Club right here in the new part of the city of Orange.
Yep.
Let's go. Are we going to play badminton?
I don't know. It's been a while since I have.
Now this is interesting and totally unexpected. What is all of this about, Montre?
Well, this is my family's badminton club. My father always had a dream when he was in Thailand that he wanted to build a world-class badminton club. So when he came over to the United States back in 1972, he worked his way up and built a successful business which allowed him to build this badminton club.
This is amazing, and this just isn't your run-of-the-mill badminton club. You have some of the top badminton players in the world here. We're standing in front of 4 of them right here.
Yes, in fact, right here we have Mr. Howard Buck and Mr. Bob Malathong. They're currently the top men's double team for the United States.
For the whole United States?
Yes.
And who are the two they're playing over there?
The gentleman in the dark t-shirt is Eric Go. He's the second-ranked men's single player in the United States. And the person in the blue is Mr. Tony Gunawan. He's a badminton legend. He's a Olympic gold medalist from Indonesia, and he emigrated to the U.S. to help the United States badminton Olympic training effort.
And you've got 2 women over here who are well known.
Yes. In white, we have Miss Eva Lee. She's currently the #1 ranked women's single player in the United States.
In the whole United States?
Yes.
This is absolutely amazing. Now, how did all of this badminton, is the city of Orange a perfect place to have this going on?
Oh, yes. In fact, they were very supportive when my dad approached them with the idea of building this badminton club. And they helped us with all the planning and getting all the legal and the business angle all taken care of. So we were very happy to work with them.
Boy, they really get into it, don't
Yes.
they? This is serious. This is an Olympic sport now.
Since
and
1992.
the Olympic team trains here, right?
Yes, most of the top U.S. badminton players train here at our club.
Wow. And this is unique to, I mean, I know there are other badminton clubs in the United States, but this has to be one of the biggest or one of the best or one of the best known?
Yeah, we're one of the biggest, and we've hosted all the national championship, almost all of them for the past decade.
Right here in the city of Orange?
Yes.
Now, not everybody who comes here are Olympic or world-class champions, are they?
No.
You have a little bit of everybody here.
Yes, we do.
Can I go over and talk to some of these people? Let's
Sure.
go over here and see. Not that I think she's not an Olympic champion. Whoa, don't hit me with this. We've been talking about all these Olympic champions. Are you an Olympic champion?
Absolutely not.
Well, what are you doing here?
Having a good time.
Yeah.
Exercising.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been in one of these clubs before.
Oh.
This is amazing.
I do believe it's like the largest one in the United States.
Yeah, and I guess you do get inspired playing right down the court from these world champions.
Absolutely. These guys are fabulous. Fabulous.
And what would you recommend, how would you recommend your partner over here? Are you pooped or just waiting for her to get back to the game?
Waiting for her to get back to the game.
Well, this is such a great, there's such a great feeling in here.
It's fun. People are so nice here. And everybody's willing to play anybody, no matter what level. That's what's really nice.
So what's the deal? You join up this club and you can just come over here and play anytime you want to? Or people can just drop in and play?
Yeah, till late. Friday nights, I think, till midnight.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's great.
And it's, believe it or not, it's a lot of exercise.
Yeah, oh no, I know it is. Well, let's see what you all do. Let's go. Let's get one going right here. Inspire me. Inspire me. Here she comes. Here they go. You know, I think I played a badminton game like this in my backyard when I was a kid.
I believe you probably did.
Wow. That is amazing. Fellows, this is amazing just to watch you.
Thanks.
You really get into this.
Yeah, definitely. Competitive badminton. It's not your typical American backyard sport, you know?
No.
This is over 200 miles an hour, Olympic sport since 1992, and you know, we're trying to change the image of the American perception of badminton.
But see, I don't know that much about badminton, and I would never have expected to find this here in the city of Orange.
Yeah, definitely. Orange County Badminton Club is one of the best in our region, and it's right next to Anaheim, so for those who want to come over, check us out, and we'll show you what competitive badminton's all about.
Wow. But as good as you are, you're still out of breath.
Definitely. You're never too good for the sport. You know, it's a sport for all ages. You know, you could be 80 and playing this sport. It's really dynamic in terms of you have to be quick, you have to be explosive, you have to be fit, all that combined. And come down to Orange County Badminton Club, and we'll show you what it's about.
Wow, let's see you go at it. Let's give us your best shot right here. Here he goes. Now, was he who was the fellow I was just talking with?
That's Howard Bach. He's the one of the top men's double team
in the whole country.
In the whole country, and he was the 2005 world champion men's double with Mr. Toto Gunawat.
Wow. Yeah, this gives a whole new definition to what badminton is all about. It's a fast game and lots of energy. Whoa! Whoa! I'm worn out just watching this. But what's interesting about coming to the Orange County Badminton Club is that you got the badminton going on out here, but look right over here. Sitting right here and looking out the windows, there's a restaurant in there where people come and sit and leisurely have their lunch and watch these people out here on the courts wearing themselves out. Oh, look what we've got here. We've got our badminton players. You didn't last very long out there.
No,
Now you've come inside to eat.
Yes, isn't this great?
So it's kind of a 2-for-1. You play a little badminton, and that justifies having a huge time meal. Now I'm beginning to figure it all out. You're blushing a little bit. She got busted. Your husband, your father, is not here today. He's on a business trip to Germany, but this has been your family's dream from the very earliest days, hasn't
That's
it?
right. Since we first stepped in the U.S. soil, and he tried to find somewhere to play and couldn't find any except the gym that they will block up for the basketball before the badminton.
Well, he's got the place now.
Now he play. He play almost every day.
And you run the restaurant.
Yes, we all help each other.
It's a family, truly a family business.
Absolutely.
And what about locating it here in the city of Orange? This seems like a wonderful marriage.
It's city of Orange is very, very lovely city, and it consists with almost everything. And you have the old town and the badminton club and everything else combined together. And we are very lucky that we live in Orange.
Wow. Well, I'm going to come back not only for lunch, but maybe for a little bit of badminton.
Please.
Because everybody is welcome here, right?
Oh, yes, everybody.
No matter how good you are, how bad you are.
Oh, yeah. I myself, I don't play that much, so you can probably beat me.
Boy, it's a beautiful day for a walk, and we have walked about 9 blocks from the center of the city, of downtown Orange. The birds are singing, all's right with the world, and we have come here, we've been met by a city official.
That's me, Tita Smith, councilwoman in the city of Orange.
And you're here to tell us about this wonderful little park. I'm sure the city is proud of all of its parks.
Yes, indeed.
But this is a real gem here. Tell us about this little park.
Well, this is what we call a pocket park, Huell, and it's been growing with this beautiful vegetation since 1912, when it was the home of Henry and Grace Pitcher.
So somebody used to live here and what, farm here?
They farmed here. It's what we would call in Orange a gentleman's farm, and the little house was right here where all this cement is.
Now, how did the city get this property?
Well, the Pitchers were very civic-minded and very generous, and Alice was a teacher, her husband was a teacher, and he was a botanist, horticulturist, herbalist, and they decided before Lawrence died that they wanted to give this property 4 residential lots to the city if we would restore it as a park. And so in 1988, Alice Pitcher gifted this property to the city of Orange.
And it's just a little park. How big is this?
Oh, it's just under an acre. It is a little park, but it's got a lot going on here.
Boy, it's got a lot going on back here.
Yes.
This is, look at this little hidden part of the park back here.
Right, and we have weddings back here if folks are interested, and it's open for people to have small parties and things like that. It's just a beautiful community park.
Now this is what, a big old avocado tree back here?
Yes, actually 3 of them. And when the park was acquired by the city, you could not walk here. There was so much lush vegetation that had grown up since 1912. But to make it a park, we had to clear a lot of it out, but it was unbelievable. It was like a botanical garden.
There's a bee in this park, and here standing in front of this wonderful yellow house here are members of the Orange County Beekeepers Association. I have to ask you, what is all of this doing here in this little pocket park?
Well, Mr. Pitcher was into tropical fruit trees when he was alive, and he had the bees to pollinate his fruit trees. Now, when Mr. Pitcher died, Mrs. Pitcher donated the land to the city for a park, and she dedicated or instructed that the barn be refurbished and the honey house be refurbished.
The honey house?
Right.
So this was where the honey came that he got from his trees.
Right. This is where he extracted the honey out of the different beehive boxes.
Can we go inside?
We sure can.
I've never been in a honey house before. We're inside the honey house, and we're standing by this. I have no idea what we're looking at. What is this?
Well, this is called a honey extractor. What it is a big centrifuge for spinning the honey out. You put the frames of honey in these racks and then spin. And the honey flows out of the rack onto the sides and flows down and comes out the opening over there.
So would this have been here when Mr. Pitcher was living here?
He built this.
He built this?
Yes. He designed this and built it.
So he was a bee man. He was a honey man. He knew what he was talking about. Are you a bee man?
Yes, I am. I'm the club's equipment manager.
So you have to keep this tuned up.
Yes.
Are you a bee lady?
I am.
Now, what is a bee lady exactly?
Well, for me, it started with a cardboard box. A bunch of bees moved into it, and Lou showed me and told me what I had to do to keep bees.
And that got you hooked on bees?
It did.
Are you a bee person?
Well, I'm the treasurer of the club.
Oh, well, that makes you a bee person. And didn't you have something you wanted to show us?
Yeah, talking about the extractor here. This here is a decapping knife, and the way this works is you use this to cut the top off the honeycomb so that the honey can be released before putting it into the extractor here to be centrifugally spun out.
Wow, this is all so interesting, and all of this is available for people to come in and see, isn't it?
Every Sunday from noon till 4.
All you ever wanted to know about bees and honey.
Well, we try to tell them everything. I mean,
well, it's part of the heritage of this town.
It is. It is. These fields were full of orange groves, and of course, without bees, you're not going to pollinate the oranges. So it was necessary, and it was part of the town's history, yes.
Huell, this was planned for your visit, the beautiful flowers.
Boy, this is spectacular right here.
Isn't it nice?
And the reason you mentioned that the flowers were planned
is because over here, this wasn't planned.
This wasn't planned.
No, this is an example of the best laid plans gone astray.
What is this all about? Because I think you probably have the explanation.
Yes, this was actually
delivered to us to be tilled into the soil to help enrich it, to help the fruit trees with the nutrition that they need. And we've chipped away quite a bit, but we haven't got through all of it. Hopefully this Saturday we will do that.
So this is basically fertilizer here, right?
This is in fact fertilizer. It's called Synagro, and you can get it from your waste treatment facility.
And why are you here telling us about it?
I'm involved with a group called Leadership Orange, sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce, and as a group we pick a project each year, and this year we decided to help put in some effort to make this park look a little nice.
Pitcher Park.
Pitcher Park, correct.
Did you know about this park before this project got started?
I learned about the park through the different classes that we did with Leadership Orange, and while we were kind of searching for a project, you know, I am an amateur botanist myself. I have rare fruit trees in my backyard, and this sort of called out to me. I felt like a connection with Lawrence and what he was doing here. So I felt like this thing kind of just called out to me, and then everybody else kind of got behind it. And it's been a really wonderful project with a lot of energy. Our local Rotary Club's been involved. The California Rare Fruit Growers have been involved. And top of that, the Leadership Orange Group has been involved. So we've had great turnout, great positive energy.
Well, congratulations for what you're doing. And speaking of things reaching out to you, the aroma here is kind of reaching out to me right here. Let's walk over here on the other side of this big pile of fertilizer and meet you. Introduce yourself to everybody, because this is a beautiful setting here.
Thank you. My name is Doug Mochizuki. I was a firefighter in the city of Orange for 30 years. One of my assignments was here as a liaison between the city fire department and the park association. And the park and the city was kind enough to allow us to be established a little fire museum here.
So you've got a little fire museum here. Now, are you open the same way the Honey House is, sporadically, like on Sundays, or?
Usually the first Sunday of the month from noon to 3 we're open.
So you have somebody here.
It's usually myself.
You're here to explain all of this.
Yes.
Because there's never been a fire museum that the kids didn't like to walk through and look back and recreate the way the history used to be with the old fire truck.
That's very true. The children really have an affinity for firefighters.
Is most of this memorabilia from this area, so it dates directly to the history of Orange or this part of the county?
Yes, just about everything in the museum is from the city of Orange. In fact, our showpiece is this 1907 hand-drawn ladder wagon that was purchased by the Orange Volunteer Firemen's Association for $340. A blacksmith in Santa Ana actually handcrafted it.
Wow.
And the city used it for many years until about 1912, when they got a motorized piece of equipment and they started pulling this behind.
What was this right here?
Well, this is, you know, in the 1900s, our electronics weren't what they are today, so you'll see pictures of...
Can you blow that thing?
Well, it's for shouting orders.
Ah, put the water over
fireman.
there.
Exactly.
Give us an order.
So we didn't lay the line. So we didn't have our radios and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So they had used these types of things.
And you got the bell here.
Yes, we do.
Fire trucks coming.
That's right.
Now, the pitchers didn't have any fire equipment on their land. How does this tie in with the old farm that used to be here?
Well, this portion of the building was a workshop and barn, and one of our firefighters, Gary Conniff, worked the city and the foundation to secure this area for us to have a small fire museum in town.
So he talked the city into adding the fire museum in this old, I guess this would have been a barn or whatever, that would have been on the Pitcher property.
Correct. This building is a replica of the building that was originally on the property.
And it all comes together.
And it came together wonderfully.
And here's the whole group standing here in front of the old barn, what is this over here?
That's a gazebo. And that's where we hold our ice cream socials and our annual persimmon party every November.
A persimmon party?
Yes.
That's another whole story there.
No, we hope you'll come back. We'd love to have you come to our
persimmon party. I've never turned down an invitation to a persimmon party. Right. And all of this is kind of supported and helped by your foundation.
Correct. It's the Pitcher Park Community Foundation, and we were formed to raise funds for the park, to educate people about early agricultural life in Orange, and to just have fun.
Well, this is a perfect place to do that, isn't it?
Indeed it is.
It's ready-made.
It's ready-made, and there's people here all day, every day, all throughout the day. We're so tickled with the foundation's work and the city's partnership.
And all of this courtesy of that family who donated this land.
That's right, Lawrence and Alice Pitcher. God bless them, and we thank them every day for our park.
Now we're still not that far from the center of downtown Old Orange, but we are standing in front of the Villa Park Orchards Association building, which I assume, Phil, takes us back to a very rich and important part of the history of the city of Orange.
Well, that's true. Orange was a big citrus growing area. We had about a dozen packing houses in the area, and this, which was originally the Santiago Orange Growers Association, built in 1918, was the very last packing house in all of Orange County.
Now there were 12 packing houses just in this area.
Right, about at the peak about 45 in all of Orange County, about 12 in and around Orange.
Was it all citrus?
Citrus, lemons, walnuts, avocados, different crops.
And now, why have you brought us here? What are we going to do in there? You say it went out of, closed down.
It has now stopped being, just very recently stopped being a citrus packing house, but they are still packing in here. They're packing another old Orange County crop, avocados.
Inside here, so it's still active.
Still active.
All right, we're walking across the street and going inside this piece of history right here. The last packing house remaining, still active in this area. We're inside the old packing house, and boy, Phil, this place has a great feel to it. Look at these floors. This is all the real stuff.
The real thing, some of the original equipment. This was the busiest Valencia packing house in the world. In the
world?
In the world.
Wow. Now, I assume these are the people we should be talking with. Howdy, Huell Howser.
Yair Crane, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Avi Crane.
Nice to meet
Pleasure.
you.
Gall Crane.
This is the Crane family right here.
Yes, we are.
You own this place.
Well, we own the packing line and the company. The building, as you see it, is owned by Chapman University.
Now, how did you work out a deal with Chapman to be doing avocados, packing avocados in here?
Well, until last October 2006, this place packed tons of oranges and did so for about 60 years. And the previous tenant moved out, and the next day we moved in and started packing avocados. So this has been a packing house since the day it was born.
You just switched over from oranges to avocados.
Right. They moved their equipment out, we moved our equipment in, and we're packing California avocados every day.
Do you feel like you're a part of history when you're here?
Absolutely. We look at ourselves as the stewards of this historical packing house, and there's no more citrus in Orange County, but we get avocados from San Diego County and Ventura County. We pack it all here in the city of Orange, and we're very excited to be a part of this building.
You're still packing here?
Yes, we are. You hear the packing line running in the background right now.
Now, what do you do here?
I sell most of the fruit along with my colleagues here. Christian and Michelle.
This is a whole big thing going here.
This is a company that employs a lot of people in Orange County, and we sell it to all over the country.
Look at him, he's pointing out, he's holding an avocado right here. We're looking at avocados.
Yes, we are, Huell.
And you know what you're looking at, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Because this goes way back in your family.
Many, many, many years. We were very, very proud of the avocados we grew here and oranges.
Now, didn't you tell me that you used to work you used to be a picker, right?
I used to be a picker in this packing house, and my mother used to pack oranges right down here. You know, we did that for years. And we lived very close to where we worked. In fact, I was born on the next block.
So was the city of Orange known as a citrus center, an agricultural center?
Huell, doesn't the name Orange tell you something?
Yeah.
Yes, it does, the orange. And one time I was on a train, and someone had come and made this same trip going through our plant. He recognized me. He said, "Aren't you from that city that grows oranges?" You know, it made us famous. Made us famous.
And what are you doing? Are you helping them package the avocados today?
Well, that is all his friend, but my family, all my family work in the packing house. My brother-in-law, my dad was a picker. I was a little kid picking the oranges at that time.
So everybody here was connected somehow or another. Were you connected with it?
I used to come and see our parents. My mom was a packer, my dad was an orange truck driver.
Wow, so you were either picking, packing, driving,
Or just running in here like a kid to visit their parents. We used to come over here to see the boys, pretending we came to see my mom.
and you were coming to see the boys over here.
A lot of boys.
Now we're seeing the avocados, and Miguel, explain to us what's going on, because this is your area right here.
This is my area, correct. We are separating the avocados by size. We are getting size 70 on this stuff.
These are size 70s coming off here.
Yeah, that means that we have to put 70 avocados of this in one single box.
Now, are you an avocado man or are you an orange man?
I'm an avocado man, actually. Because when I started working in this business, avocado was my first job.
So the oranges had already kind of passed their peak here.
Exactly.
It was
right
avocados now.
It is avocados right now, and who knows what is going to be
in the future.
Yeah, and some part of the in the past there are also strawberries around.
Really?
But avocados is our focus here right now.
Well, it's interesting because if these walls could talk, they would have stories of the thousands, tens of thousands of people who worked here over the years.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And basically right here for oranges, now we are doing avocados because the oranges, as you know, they gone.
Wow.
But avocados is exactly our business right now, and we are trying to keep the business running and have people working right here around. And, you know, I mean, it's all what it matters. Just
well,
to keep
it's
doing
all
business.
good, and I got to tell you, it's got a good feel in here. This is all part of history, but it's part of history that is writing a new chapter. A citrus packing house that is now packing avocados. It's all part of the story here in the city of Orange. We're ending up our road trip to the city of Orange in a very appropriate place, especially since we have just left the old citrus packing house. Where are we now, Phil?
This is the Orange Friendly Center.
The Friendly Center, and here's a friendly looking lady right here who's going to give us the history behind the Friendly Center, and it's a wonderful story.
Thank you. Well, Friendly Center started in 1924, and it started to serve the needs of the migrant farm workers who settled in this area.
Who were picking and packing the citrus that was being sent out all across America.
Right, and so their families needed services and a little assistance, and so that's how the Friendly Center came into being. It was a men's ecumenical Bible study group.
Now, we saw the original building right down from the packing house we just visited. That's where it all started and stayed there for a number of years.
Yes, it did, until around in the 80s, it moved over here to the park.
And you've built this beautiful new facility, but you've kept kind of the same motif as the original building.
Very historical.
And you're still serving the community just like you were when you started back in the early 1920s.
Yes, with emergency services, food programs, youth tutoring, senior citizen hot meal program, a variety of services.
Wow, and we have a guy right over here who I bet remembers the original, don't you?
I do, and I was about their size, about the most littlest one. I was born across the street from the Friendly Center. So I've always boasted that I am a product of the Friendly Center. And I've been here in Orange all 85 years and married to this lady nearly 65 years here in Orange.
And the Friendly Center has been really providing an amazing service since those early days.
That's right.
Do you remember what it was like to come to the Friendly Center?
It was just as friendly as it is now. Not as big, just as friendly, but all the services that they render now, they rendered then.
Important services.
Yeah, very much so, especially for workers that work here. We're seasonal workers, and it was just a little piece of heaven right here.
Wow. Well, you said it right. This is a little piece of heaven. The Friendly Center, Phil, come on in here, because You've been our tour guide today, and you know, we were going to end the program kind of where we started it, in the plaza, in the center of the town, but I think this is the best place to end it because it's got history. It talks about the people of Orange and their commitment over the years to help each other. And it all ties together.
It's part of the community, too. This is as much Orange as any of the other neighborhoods we've been in. It's all our community.
Wow, what a wonderful community. You all are so lucky to live here, and we are so lucky to have spent the day here. I would encourage everyone to come visit this wonderful place, this wonderful city, the city of Orange in Orange County, a city filled with history and a city filled with friendly people. Give us a wave. We've had a wonderful time on our road trip to the city of Orange. Goodbye.
Come back again.
Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Howser, and I sure hope you enjoyed this road trip to the city of Orange. It is a wonderful place to visit, and if you'd like to go on this adventure again, or share it with your family and friends, it's available on video cassette and on DVD. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.